You are now tuning into Almost 30 Podcast.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. It's your girls, Lindsey and Krista. We're so happy you're here. Thanks for joining us. If you're an OG, we thank you for being with us on this ride. It's
Thank you
been
for the journey.
nearly 10 years of us sitting down and just kind of moving through things in real time with you, learning together.
A third of my life.
That's kind of crazy.
That's crazy.
I was like, math? Is it mathing? Just about, I would say.
Just a third of my life. That's a crazy experience. You guys have known me for many moons, many transitions, many journeys.
And to those of you who are new, so glad you found us, whether it's through our new book, Almost 30, or through the podcast, or maybe Instagram. We're just so thankful you're here.
Love you guys. Thank you for being part of our lives and community. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, me too. I sat down with Alyssa Campbell. Alyssa is a just wealth of knowledge. If you are someone who has kids, who is interested about having kids, or was a kid once, because I think it was actually an incredible reflection
For sure.
on my own childhood. But she has a master's degree in education, is the co-author of Tiny Humans, Big Emotions, which just hit the New York Times bestseller list, and is the CEO of Seed and Sow. She's a new book out, Bigger Kids, Bigger Feelings, which really looks at the stage of childhood that she feels. And I agreed with her. I was like, whoa, this is very much overlooked. Between the ages of 5 and 12. So I think so much of the content and even books out there on child development focus on those early years, which are incredibly important. But this stage of development between 5 and 7 is 5 and 12 is a really, really interesting one. We're kind of hitting those preteen years. There's interesting development around individuation, but also, very deeply needing and relating to our parents in ways that are developmentally very important. And so this is really a conversation about how we can best support our kids, how we can support ourselves through these moments where we feel things are getting out of control, maybe emotionally, nervous system regulation wise. So it's really like this collaborative effort to help a child regulate, to help a child have the words for things, to help a child be in their body, and to know your child very specifically. Every single child has a different way of processing sensory inputs. So some children are hypersensitive to sounds. Some children are hypersensitive to touch. And it could be in a good way. Like lots of sounds could soothe one child and kind of dysregulate another. So it's really a guide in getting to know your child in this way so that you can support them specifically for them. So I love her. I think the way her approach is just very tangible and tactical. And so we're going to talk about the nervous system, both a child's developing nervous system, your own nervous system, and why that matters in regulating your children. We talk about social media. We talk about
What'd you say about social media?
5 to 12 is like a very interesting time as far as how you relate to your friends. You know, you start to become like kind of aware of like who is your friend, who is not, who you kind of like vibe with,
Social dynamics,
And social media today, and just being on your phones in general, is a way to connect with your friends. I was actually at an event the other day. Mel Robbins was talking at a Verizon event, and they were talking about how like a phone. She held up her phone. She's like, "This to your kid are his friends, are her friends."
Wow.
Like, it's not just like a device that's distracting and has all this crap on it. It's like, this is their lifeline to their friends on a daily basis. So, yeah, it's really looking at the relationship to that. But overall, having social media at those young ages, she does not agree with.
Yeah, I mean, what?
I mean, 5 to 12, you would not see me.
What are you talking
Not even
about?
with a phone. However, I was talking to someone the other day who has kids this age, I think a fifth grader, and they have like a iPhone 16. And I looked at Sean, I was like, just so you know, our kids are not getting a full-blown phone. Like they have like other things now that are like, it's just a
Yeah, it's basic.
emergency, yada, yada, and
Yeah.
whatever. But like a full-blown phone. And they were talking about how they're like, yeah, man, like it's hard. Like anytime he has the phone, like, you know, I basically have it in my top drawer half the time because he's just like
They're little
on it and
addicts.
yeah, of course. So I'm like,
oh my
of
gosh.
course, their little brains just get that hit, you know? So, but what she did say about just screen time in general, I thought was interesting. And I actually see this with Mav sometimes. So, a few times a week, I'd say like maybe 4 times a week, we sit and we watch something really chill, whether it's like Thomas the Tank Engine from when I was little or like, you know, a show that he likes,
That's a
but
good
is
one.
like,
Not too much stimulation.
no, not at all. But he likes it. And I noticed sometimes at the end of the day where he's been like with his friends in a class, like out in the park, like kind of doing, he comes home and he'll say the show. He'll be like, Thomas. And I told this to Alyssa and she's like, you know, like when you get home after a day of like working and you just kind of need like a nervous system reset of like chill time, like for kids, for some kids, it's actually incredibly beneficial if they just sit for like 20 minutes and like watch a chill show and they can just regulate before you ask them, how was your day? What'd you do? Da da da. And like head into the next series of events, whether it's like dinner, bath, playing, whatever. Like they need that reset too. So it kind of reframed like how I am thinking about TV in particular.
Right.
Like we're not doing it all the time, but like to reframe like, oh, this is a moment to like reset. And I see it. Because then I'll say, oh, Thomas has to go eat dinner. And then we turn it off. He's like, okay. And he's like kind of like just regulated.
Wow.
It's weird.
Wow. Yeah, I've been thinking about that lately for myself of like why I use like dating shows, like crappy dating shows to regulate my nervous system. I'm like, oh.
Do you like, what do you think it is? Like you don't have to think and it's just kind of mindless entertainment?
It just, I'm in such heavy stuff all the time.
Yeah.
So it's like helpful to be in lighter, I think. But I've noticed it's a constant humming.
Yeah.
Why is there an attunement? There's like a constant humming that has to be there.
Sure.
So it's like, what is that? So I've been trying to not.
Oh,
But
like
yeah.
in the background?
Yeah, like just in life. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm watching. Sometimes I'm watching, sometimes I'm not. Sometimes it's just like on. I'm like, what's that? It's interesting. Like there always has to be like a bee. You know, like people have their phones. You know, there's just a lot of that. But I've been thinking about that in particular for nervous system because I'm like, oh, this is interesting. Being post book launch, burnout, just feeling like I need the nervous system regulation more.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is an interesting tool.
Totally.
For that.
And how to teach our children how to do that is really, doing it for ourselves first and then understanding theirs in particular. So this is a great one. I thought, you know, whether you have kids or not, I think it's incredibly valuable.
Yeah, it's understanding. This helps you understand yourself in a different way in your life. Because even a lot of these points, I'm like kind of thinking about. I'm like, okay, was I really sensitive from a sensory perspective? Yes, I don't really know. I wasn't even given permission to, so it's like I was, but I didn't know how. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
With sounds or stuff. So even to think about, yourself and how that could impact who you are today and sort of how you see things is fascinating.
It's totally applicable. So the new book is Big Kids, Bigger Feelings. You can get it now. Thank you so much, Alyssa. We appreciate you. You can learn more about her work at seedandsow.org. And thanks for listening, everybody. Y'all are the best.
We love you guys so much. We'll see you on the other side.
Bye. Okay, let's do this. I am here with a dear friend and someone who, before becoming friends, I have considered a resource for quite a long time. So when I met you in person at a mom's event, I was like, oh, cool. Like, I've been learning from you and I didn't know I was learning from you. Now you're in front of me and now we get to be friends. So Alyssa Campbell is joining us today, and I'm just so excited. First of all, let's just say your first book, Tiny Humans, Big Emotions, just hit the New York Times bestseller list, which is incredible. About 2 years later, and I was just saying that it's just a testament to the work, it's a testament to your community, like, and just wild how, this is a conversation now. This is a conversation amongst parents and an interest and a curiosity and a just a dedication amongst parents to get to know their kids on a much deeper level, get to know themselves on a much deeper level. So, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It is really wild. It is so cool to have it happen almost 2 years later because it means that people are getting it and reading it and sharing it with their communities. And I was just talking yesterday to an elementary school principal who was like, "Oh yeah, I just got copies for all of our pre-K families." I was like, That's just like happening behind the scenes that we don't always know about and we're not privy to." And we get these little stories from folks of ways that it's hitting for them and supporting their family. And it's so rad to see that
Oh, so
happen, that
awesome.
as it hits people's bookshelves and ears, that it is serving them enough where they're like, "I wanna share this with the people around me." It's,
Mhm.
this hitting the New York Times bestseller list for Tiny Humans is truly just, like, from our community and
Yeah.
the movement of raising emotionally intelligent humans. They did this.
Yeah. So amazing. Um,
So cool.
and the new book, Big Kids, Bigger Feelings. So I want to start there because when I was thinking about it, I don't have a big kid yet. I have a 2 year old, almost 2 year old. But I think about myself, when I was a big kid. So first, I would
Mhm.
love to define kind of like what a big kid is
There
in the context of this book, but also why you feel like, this age group is kind of overlooked in the grand scheme of things,
Mhm.
because I was thinking about that. I'm like, "Oh, I remember that feeling." And I was the eldest child, so there's layers there, but um where I kind of felt like at times I didn't have it all together emotionally, and I felt like I wasn't really in some ways recognized for it or supported through it. So, let's start there.
Sure. Yeah. When we're looking at big kids, we're looking at like 5 to 12 years old. So the bulk of the work that we do at Seed is in school systems. We work in elementary schools, in middle schools, we work in childcare programs, family childcare providers, daycares. And I did research in building emotional intelligence. My master's is in early childhood. But what kept happening was we were serving like pre-K programs, and the elementary principal would be like, "Oh, can you actually pop into our second grade? Like, we need help here. We have stuff going on there." And it just kept expanding through
Mm,
elementary and middle school. And what we realized was that there's a gap of resources in this age range of 5 to 12, both in schools and in homes, where we're kind of sold this idea that the early years are so tough. They're so physical. It's exhausting. The sleep, the feeding somebody from your body potentially, right? Or just having to plan all the meals, the snacks, the logistics of everything, physically carrying them from place to place. And then the teenage years are so hard emotionally and relationally and hormonally. And there's almost this myth that things are just like hunky dory and chill from like 5 to 12. And the reality is that they're still humans. And what really starts to shift and change in this age range is that they're figuring out who they are in the world. Like
mm,
outside of the home, identity starts to play a big role for them. Not just who am I in this family, but who am I in the world? What am I interested in? Who do I like to hang out with? What do I like to play? What kind of clothes feel good on my body or types of expression feel right for me? And as they're navigating this, often what comes up for us on the adult side are things like you're old enough to know better, where we assume they hit certain ages and stages and they shouldn't have big feelings anymore. They shouldn't be crying anymore. They shouldn't be having a hard time. They should know how to manage their time and get their homework done and all that jazz. We have things come up in this age range that are going to be triggers from our childhood, like not being included, feeling left out, feeling embarrassed at school, not having the it thing to be included. And all of that is a lovely little recipe for showing up with these big kids between these ages of like 5 and 12.
Mm. If you're taking protein powder, you need to hear this. The Clean Label Project recently tested 160 top selling protein powders in the US, and nearly half of them exceeded California's safety thresholds for lead. Yeah, that's right, lead. Not exactly what you want in something you're supposed to take daily to support your health, right? So, to make it worse, most brands won't even share their test data. So, you don't really know what you're putting in your body. That's why I'm obsessed with Purie's PW1 whey protein. And I love Purie just in general. Their products are obsessively tested and done right. You can scan a code on each one of their packages to basically see that batch, see the testing done, the breakdown. It's fascinating. Every single batch is third-party tested by the Clean Label Project against more than 200 contaminants. And Purie is actually the only protein brand in the US with the Clean Label Project transparency certification, meaning they put a QR code right on the label, like I said, so you can scan and see the results yourself. Each serving gives you 21 grams of minimally processed, clean, high-quality whey protein from pasture-raised cow's milk. There's no hormones, no GMOs, no pesticides. And I just love knowing I can take this daily to support my muscles and just my health in general without worrying about hidden junk. And personally, I'm obsessed with the bourbon vanilla flavor. It's not chalky, no artificial aftertaste. It's just smooth and delicious. So make sure your protein powder isn't hiding nasty chemicals. Switch to PW1. We know you'll love it as much as we do. We work with Purie on an amazing deal for you. So get 20% off, or if you choose the already discounted subscription, you'll save almost a third off the price. Here's how. Go to purie.com/almost30. That's PUORI.com/almost30 and use the promo code almost30. That's purie.com/almost30, promo code almost30. That's PUORI.com/almost30. And again, the promo code is almost30. Don't wait. Go grab the discount now. Okay, so let me paint the picture. Growing up, my comfort foods were always the same. Okay, I remember them vividly. Warm Hawaiian rolls at family dinners, a bagel on a Sunday morning slathered in cream cheese, and of course, giant bowls of noodles. I loved this like cheesy sauce that I used to get at the grocery store. But the problem is, as I got older, those foods didn't always love me back. That's why I am obsessed with Hero Bread. It lets me keep my favorites without the sacrifice, and my family loves them too. Their Hawaiian rolls are my number one. They're soft and pillowy, exactly how I remember them. Delicious. Their bagels, so good. My son also loves them. And these products have 17 to 19 grams of protein with only 1 gram of net carbs per serving. I am blown away. And now, Hero noodles, they're here. Honestly, been a game changer. They've got 12 grams of protein, 5 grams of net carbs, 0 grams of sugar, and 32 grams of fiber, plus 60% fewer calories than typical noodles out there, which means yes, pasta night is officially back in rotation over here. And no one at the table can even tell the difference. My husband did not tell the difference. What surprised me most is the texture. I thought healthier bread or noodles would taste dense or cardboardy, but Hero Bread is fluffy and chewy and satisfying. The noodles are yummy. It feels indulgent, but it totally fits with my health goals, whether that's more protein, more fiber, which I am on a fiber kick, or just having meals that like are incredible and also healthy. And they don't just have like typical bread, they have tortillas, bagels, dinner rolls. And they have exciting drops, like batch drops, like the 2 gram net carb croissant, which, oh, like I'm speechless over these. I got to try them once and now it has a 23,000 person wait list. Okay. I'm signed up for the next one. The bottom line is Hero Bread means no compromises, just delicious bread, rolls, tortillas, bagels, and now noodles that give me everything I love about my comfort foods, but with 0 grams of sugar, high fiber, and ultra low net carbs. Hero Bread is offering 10% off your order. Just go to hero.co. That's hero.co, hero.co, and use the code almost30 at checkout. Yeah, because I guess up until that point, and 5 is around when kids
Go to
go to
kindergarten.
kindergarten, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like up until that point, you could kind of, in a way, protect them from kind of a lot of these things. And then once, if they're going to traditional school, it's like once they are away from the house, they're with peers and teachers. Yeah, it must feel disorienting, liberating, fun, scary, like so many
Mhm.
emotions. And so can we kind of ground in the what's happening neurologically or what hasn't happened yet neurologically during this time 5 to 12 that we should be aware of?
Totally. So we love to get nerdy on the nervous system. It's my favorite. And we recognize that there's not one size fits all, right? So everyone has a unique nervous system. What we dive into a bunch in both books is how there are 9 senses and that we often hear of our first 5: sight, sound, taste, touch, smell. And those 5 are how we are kind of moving through the world and seeing, like, is this something that'll keep me safe? Can I engage in this? Is this something that drains me or fills me up? But we often leave these other 4 senses off the table that play a huge role in our regulation. We have our interoceptive system. These are our internal cues. Am I hungry? Am I tired? Is my heart beating fast? How am I feeling internally? We have our vestibular system. It's located in your inner ear. It's responsible for your movement or balance. If you experience like vertigo or you're getting dizzy, that's your vestibular system at work. And it's saying, like, oh, I feel sensitive right now. And for all of us, we're sensitive to some things and seeking other things for regulation. I'm vestibular sensitive. So I'm a human who I'm going to say no to the swings or a spinny ride at the fair, and my husband is vestibular seeking, and so he sits in an office chair that has like a swivel to it so that he can get that input throughout the day. We have our proprioceptive sense. This lets us know where our body is in space. So where our body ends and something else begins. I have lower proprioceptive awareness, which means I often have like bruises on my body where I've like bumped into the couch or into the bedside on the way by. And folks with lower proprioceptive awareness usually seek more proprioceptive input, that we're like, oh yes, like I have an almost 2-year old as well, and I'm like, I want her body on mine, like sit in my lap and read a book, I want to carry you, I love to snuggle a snooze and babe. And for movement, I like love heavy work. Give me weights, give me the weighted vest, give me that input because my body is saying, where do I end and something else begins? And when I
Uh,
get more of that, it turns that on in my body. And then our last sense is our neuroceptive sense. And this is really related to like polyvagal theory, but it is our spidey sense. It keeps us safe. In the same we were actually recently on a trip and I was at a rest stop and I had Mila, my almost 2-year-old, in my arms. And I just had that feeling of like something feels weird or off. I
mm,
didn't hear a sound, I didn't see something, just that feeling. And I like
yeah.
turned and there was this guy that was just like giving me the ick, just like close to me, like weird vibes. And I was like, yeah, I'm out of here. Just out of here.
Hmm.
That's your neuroceptive sense. I didn't hear something, I didn't see something, I felt it.
Yeah.
That energetic feeling is neuroception. It's saying, something's off here. Or like if someone's in conflict and they stop having conflict, but you walk into the room and you feel it and you're like, oh, I feel that energy. That's your neuroceptive sense. So we have these 9 senses. And for all of us, we're sensitive to some and seeking others for regulation. And it's somewhere on a spectrum. And so
Mm,
what we do so much in our work is help you understand, how does your unique nervous system work? What are you sensitive to? What drains you? And then what are you seeking? What recharges you? That I'm drained by vestibular input. So if I'm in that swivel chair, I'm going to get nauseous. It is not filling my cup. I am recharged by that proprioceptive input or deep touch. And so I'm like,
mm,
yes, give me that weighted vest. My husband has a lower capacity and tolerance for proprioceptive input. So if he had a weighted vest on in the way that I do throughout the day, he would start to feel like touched out and agitated and irritated. And I'm like,
mhm.
oh, yes, give it to me all day. In fact, the other day I was just like walking around with it, forgot I had it on. And there's not a world in which he would forget he has it on.
Yep. Yep. And how do you know? 'Cause this is all speaking to me very much and just obviously thinking about the people in my life, but
Mhm.
especially my son. But what would be, can you give me some examples of like sensitivities to these
Mhm.
particular senses, especially the ones that we don't really consider normally, the ones you just shared with us?
Yeah, totally. So when we're looking at our senses, we put together a questionnaire and there's a QR code in Big Kids. It goes to
Oh, cool.
seedquiz.com. It's totally free. We worked with a group of occupational therapists. You can take it for any age range. So what's super cool is so far as it's been out in the world, it's overwhelmingly been taken most by adults for adults. So they're
Mm,
taking it for themselves to figure out how does my nervous system work. But
cool.
you can take it for kids of all ages too, and it'll break down all nine. It shows on a spectrum, where is this human? What does that information mean? And this can show up like, I'll take sound sensitivity first. My son is sound sensitive. I'm sound sensitive. When you're sound sensitive, sound you're not in control of is dysregulating. Sound you're in control of is regulating. My daughter
Mm,
is sound seeking. So she's like, throw me into like a dance party where there's music, put me in a big crowd where there's a lot going on. And she is calmed by it. She's like, yes, this is great and regulating. My
wow.
husband and son and I are like, "Yeah, no, this is draining for us." And it, like, exhausts our nervous
Uh-huh.
system. And, like, bless him, he's incredible, but I married a drummer, and so there's, like, tapping in my house all the time, and when he's tapping and it's like, "Oh, yeah, we all just, like, had a good night of sleep, and it's, like, 8:30 in the morning and things are chill," and he's tapping, it's fine. When it's, like, 5:30 at night and we're all fried, I want a divorce at the dinner
Yeah.
table, and he's, like, tapping the song that's in his head. And it's really like, "Oh, I'm spent, my nervous system is fried," and that is further depleting my nervous system.
I see.
And so what we work with family time, we do it in Big Kids, we do it in schools, is really helping you understand how does this human work? My son falls into the sensory sensitive category where he's sensitive to almost all of those 9. He is regulated by vestibular input. Uh, so he's seeking vestibular input, but he's sensitive to the rest of them. And for proprioceptive input, for him, this looks like he has a pretty big space bubble. He's like, you are close enough. And you are like a little bit farther away in the room. He's like, yep,
Yep.
that's good. We're close enough. And for me, I'm like, oh, come sit on top of me. Like, let's touch. And then we'll maybe be close enough. And so for him, his sensory sensitivities mean he's really good at noticing details. He is paying attention all around him. He will say like, "Mama, what's that sound?" And I haven't even clocked it yet. Or he's like, "Hey, where did you put my train? I left it on that shelf lined up over here. Where did it go?" And he remembers. He has beautiful attention to detail. Because his brain is working so hard to pay attention to all these details, it's exhausting for his nervous system. He gets overwhelmed faster because he
Okay.
needs more processing time. And for me, I am not a details human. I'm what we consider a neutral seeker. I kind of fall in the middle of like, I'm sensitive to some, I'm seeking some. And then we have humans who are high seekers. They need a lot of input, a lot of movement. We have a high seeker on our seed team, and she's a mom of two. And she is like, gets up at 5 in the morning, rides the bike, like does a workout, and then is like full energy, music on in the background, keeps an essential oil roller in her backpack to like have on hand for smells. And she needs so much stimuli and input to feel
Mm,
regulated and has built tools for it and has access to it. It's really hard for her nervous system to get overwhelmed, to get flooded. She is constantly seeking out input.
yeah.
And my son is the exact opposite, where he's like, oh man, he walks into a room that's busy and there's clutter around him. And for him, he's like so overwhelmed by that. My husband's the same way. He's like, just put it in a drawer or hide it somewhere so you don't see it because it's just so overwhelming for their brain that is paying attention to all those details. So
Oh,
when we
yeah.
understand this about ourselves and about each other, we can start to look at, okay, what's going to drain me? How do I have systems of support for that? And then what recharges me? How do I access those things throughout the day proactively and then in the moment when I'm having a hard time?
Hmm. Yeah, this is going to be such a huge unlock for people, especially parents, I feel like.
Good.
Because I think there can be so many moments, whether it's throughout the day or especially at the end of the day, where it's like there's the obvious reasons why we feel just so tapped. But then I do think there's those, kind of underlying what we're talking about here, the sensory inputs and what's draining us that really could be like the biggest culprits and actually tuning into that and giving ourselves really what we need could help us to not feel as tapped when we're doing the everyday things with kids, with our families. So this is major. So definitely take that quiz. I'm going to take that quiz. I was kind of clocking like what I am, what my husband is, and what I think Mav is, but I'm going to do the quiz because I'm so curious.
Well,
But
the key to self-care, right? Like we talk about
yeah,
self-care a lot, but taking care of yourself requires you to understand what actually does my nervous system need? And if we want to take care of ourselves, me taking care of myself is so different than my husband taking care of himself.
what does it look like for you to take care of yourself?
To be in community with people. I'm a neutral seeker, so I like need some stim and input to have access to movement. I have like a walking pad under my desk.
Yeah.
We actually recently we were going away on a trip and it was just gonna we were gonna be with family the whole time. And so the weekend before, I was like, hey, Zach, why don't you take time to do something for you? We carved out time for me to do something for me. His time for himself was fully solo. He went to a record store by himself with AirPods in to listen to whatever he wanted. He took himself out to a quiet place at lunch where he could sit outside. Like it's full solo time and like music and chill. And that for him is so rejuvenating.
Mhm.
I would come home and be like, "Oh my god, I need somebody to talk to." Like, I would be hungry for connection and
Yeah.
sensory input. I would be like, "Okay, give me more." Mine was I went shopping at a thrift store with friends, and then we went out and did, like, a group coffee lunch situation, and then went for a walk by the water, all in community with friends, where I got movement, I got connection, I was chatting, I was, like, in a stimulating environment. That
Mm,
filled my cup.
yeah. Wow. Okay. Yeah, this is so fascinating. And I think for partners to understand one another is so important too, because there are many moments more than I like to admit where I just don't get why my husband wants what he wants in terms of whether it's like the time he wants to spend alone, what that looks like, or just anything. Why he listens to music while he's doing work. I'm like, how do you do that? Yeah,
Mhm. Yeah.
I need neutral music, no words. Like
Mhm.
if we're gonna do that. So yeah, this is also, I think, a way for us to understand our partners much better and also be able to support them better, which
Yes.
ultimately makes you better parents, which ultimately makes your
Yeah.
kids, I think, able to regulate even better. Because if you're in an
Totally.
environment where your parents are constantly unregulated, we
Mm.
can imagine what that happens. In the book, you introduce, or I had never heard of collaborative emotion processing. I would love to
Mhm.
talk about this
Yeah.
and just kind of break it down for us so that we can kind of like walk through this ourselves.
Yeah. So Lauren, the co-author of Tiny Humans, she and I were both teaching in the same school, and she was like, "I feel like we're doing something different." So we started like video lessoning each other and diving into like what were we doing, and then kind of gathered that and put a framework together for what we were doing. We were like, "Great, let's find like a structure, a system that we can really turn to that outlines what we're doing." And we found bits and pieces in different places, but didn't find anything comprehensive to what we were doing. And so we created it, the collaborative emotion processing method. And then we partnered with Brandeis University to research it across the country and look at how does it change the way that adults experience children's emotions so that they can
Mm,
respond with intention. And that was the coolest thing from our research was that
wow.
when you're looking at building emotional intelligence, it takes time. It takes a lot of time and repetition. But one really crucial component in that is the adult that's responding to these children. If we are reacting from our subconscious patterns, from the habits we learned in childhood, from our triggers or our dysregulation, without accessing regulation and self control and noticing, like, what's the story I'm telling myself about this behavior? What's coming up for me here? Without doing that on the adult side, then we respond from a dysregulated reactive state. This is where we repeat patterns from our childhood. And I write in Tiny Humans that sometimes I open my mouth, my mom comes out, and like sometimes that's great. Sometimes I totally want to pass that on. And like sometimes spend a lot of time, money, and therapy trying to not pass that on. And so, like, then what? And so, in the SEP method, collaborative emotion processing, CEP, we outlined 5 components. 4 of them are about us and understanding how the nervous system works. The 5th one is adult-child interactions. When we're doing these other 4, then how do we respond to the child in front of us? So the first 4, we have self-awareness, noticing what's happening for us inside. Those are those internal cues. What's happening with your heart? Where are your shoulders? How are you feeling inside? This is something we talk a lot about in the world, but very few people have the tools to practice, we realized. And one of the ways that we love to foster this is to set a series of alarms for yourself. 9:12, 10:18, 12:16. And when it goes off, just notice what's happening for you. And if you're around kids, say it out loud. Oh, my heart's beating fast, or my shoulders are up to my ears. Oh, I'm feeling a little overwhelmed right now. I'm just going to slow my heart down. Or, oh, I feel really calm. I notice my heart's slow and my palms are open. I'm feeling really calm, really into this activity. Just noticing what's happening, say it out loud, regulate if need be, and then go right back into your thing. It's about 30 seconds in length. When you practice this outside the moment, it helps you in the moment be able to access that skill of noticing before you explode what's happening inside. So that's self awareness. We have self-care, which is that like nerdiness of what does your nervous system need? How does your unique nervous system work? For us, this isn't a one size fits all. It's not a bubble bath or, a massage, although it could be. It's what do you need to take care of your nervous system all day long, proactively, not just reactively. Not get to a place of burnout, come back from it, get to a place of burnout, come back from it, but how do you take care of yourself throughout the day in micro moments that really add up? And we have scientific knowledge where we talk about the nervous system, how it works, and that we have so much power in our tone and our body language and that nonverbal communication. In fact, our preverbal language is what comes online in the brain first and foremost for kids, that they start to recognize right from birth the tone of voice, your body language, your energy before they understand the words you're saying. And this is so key in scientific knowledge that if I come in with this tone and my body's powering over you, versus I come in with this tone and my body is soft and says, I'm not here to fight you, that
Right.
I have the power to set the temperature for my kid rather than join their energy.
Mhm.
And then we have our implicit biases, recognizing that we all grew up hearing different things about maybe certain emotions we should or shouldn't have, or certain places we should or shouldn't express them. Maybe things related to race or gender or sex around the shoulds or shouldn'ts. And it becomes our inner narrative. It becomes the story that we just believe to be true if we don't look at it. If we don't look at it and say, this is where I open my mouth and my mom's coming out. Is this something I still believe to be true? Is this something I still want to pass on? Is this something that's still serving me? Or is this something that I learned that I'm going to let go of? And what does that letting go of process look like? So that's the implicit bias work where we get to really dive into showing up with intention and consciousness. And then we have adult child interactions. And this is where we look at okay, if we are showing up with intention, how do you respond to the child in front of you? Not the child maybe you were, or the child that you thought you were going to have, or uh, someone who maybe shares your nervous system, but the child in front of you. Who are
Mhm.
they, and how do you respond to them? That's the SEP method as a whole.
This is great. And I can imagine, well, you said it in the beginning of this, like it's a practice. So this takes intention, this takes repetition, and I'm sure many imperfect moments. And so
Totally.
when we find ourselves in a moment of messing up, what do you recommend for parents? I think for big kids in particular.
Yeah. Yeah. So really across the board, the goal of the SEP method, it's not perfection. It's the grace to grow without perfection, giving humans that freedom and recognizing that the ultimate goal is to be in relationship with each other. And if that's our goal, is to be in relationship with one another, then we're going to have rupture. We're going to
Yeah.
drop the ball. We're going to be imperfect humans who are dysregulated and are messy and are reactive. And we get to come back together and have accountability and navigate repair. And what this looks like is being able to model for kids like, oh man, earlier when we were coming home from school, your brother was asking me questions, you were asking me questions, I was feeling flooded and overwhelmed, and I wasn't kind to you. I'm going to work on calming my body so that I can be kind to you. I'm
Mhm.
sorry that I wasn't kind. And really just truly owning our own accountability when we drop the ball, it's the greatest way to teach them how to do that because they're also going to make mistakes. And I don't want them to think that they have to be perfect. We get to allow them to be imperfect humans. And with this comes accountability for their actions. And the greatest way to teach is to model. And so
Mhm.
when we show up for them and we model that, yeah, I'm not perfect either. I drop the ball sometimes. I have hard feelings sometimes. And same with our partners, not just with them, but with our partners, with our co parents, with our village around us. When I am turning and saying, like, oh, Zach, I'm sorry, I had a day at work. And from the minute you walked in, I've been snippy and sarcastic and rude with you. And that's not okay. Can I have 5 minutes solo to just go be and reset and then come back? And I get to have that conversation
Yeah.
in front of my kids so that they see I'm owning my dysregulation. I'm also saying I'm still not in a place to keep going. I need to regulate before I can move forward. Here's what's going to be regulating for me in this moment and asking for that. When we
Mhm.
model those things for them, it is so stinking powerful.
Yeah, it really is. They're watching everything.
Everything. And it doesn't stop when they're little. When they're little, we often narrate a lot more. We're like talking to them about what we're doing and about the day. And then at some point when they get older, we stop doing that. And it's actually still beneficial for them if we continue. That if I say, like, ooh, I am whelmed right now. Like it is bumping in this household and everyone needs something and I need a minute. I'm fried and I just need a beat. I'm going to put on my AirPods and I'm going to listen to a song by myself and have a one song dance party. And then I'm going to be here to take your questions and help you.
Mhm.
I'm going to be here in a minute. And we narrate that for them, even if they're yelling, even if they're screaming, even if they're saying, like, no, no, no. What they see is, oh, mom feels this too. She also gets overwhelmed. This is what calms her. And then
Mm.
she comes back to us. I'm not responsible for her regulation.
Right.
It's so huge.
Yeah, it's a big one because I'm sure a lot of people listening may have experienced like feeling like they were responsible for regulating their parents. If things felt a little off in the house or between your parents or with one parent, like just this, what is that? What is that like need for a child to create balance or to make things okay? I guess it's to regulate
Safety.
their own nervous system, safety. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
safety. They're dependent on us to
Yeah,
keep
of
them alive
course.
and just in relationship. That our
Sure.
attachment relationship starts right from the jump. And they don't see it as like, oh, mom's having a hard day, right? My kids aren't like, man, she's had a hard day. This isn't about me. They see it as like, oh, I'm always messing up and it's stressing mom. I'm always
Mhm.
doing this thing and it's causing this reaction to her. And when
Right.
I own my own dysregulation and then regulation, I'm showing them that this isn't your job to fix. You didn't cause it and it's not your job to fix. It's my job to be responsible for my body and my reactions, not yours.
Mm. People think podcasting is just talking into a mic, but let me tell you, my brain does not shut off when I turn off the mic between planning episodes, researching topics, just thinking about the business. Sometimes my sleep gets disturbed, and lately it has been, and I have been leaning on my Beam Dream Powder. It's incredible. I got introduced to Beam's Dream Powder last year, and my sleep has just been so phenomenal when I take it. Dream is an all-natural sleep blend made with science-backed ingredients like reishi, magnesium, L-theanine, apigenin, and melatonin, all designed to help you fall asleep, stay asleep, and wake up refreshed. And unlike other sleep aids, there's no next day grogginess, just really deep sleep that helps you actually feel good in the morning. So since adding Dream to my routine, I am finally sleeping through the night, if my son lets me, without tossing and turning, without my mind running. I just wake up actually feeling refreshed, not groggy, not exhausted, just ready to take on the day. And I'm so thankful. And I'm not the only one. Beam has improved over 17.5 million nights of sleep, and 92% of users surveyed reported better sleep and waking up refreshed. And honestly, what I love most is Beam is an American company built and run right here. So when you support them, you're backing real people making great products the right way. Plus, for a limited time, Beam is giving our listeners their best offer yet, up to 40% off. Unbelievable. Try their best-selling Dream Powder and get up to 40% off for a limited time. Go to shopbeam.com/almost30 and use code almost30 at checkout. That's shopbeam.com/almost30 and use code almost30 at checkout for up to 40% off. In my 20s, I was just financially a little bit unwell. I can't tell you how many times I've been hit with random overdraft fees or had that moment of panic realizing a bill auto drafted before my paycheck even cleared. My younger self would have loved Chime because it takes away so much of that stress. Chime understands that every dollar counts. That's why when you set up direct deposit through Chime, you can get access to fee-free features like free overdraft coverage, getting paid up to 2 days early, and more. Here's what I love most. Chime is banking done right. You can open a checking account with no monthly fees and no maintenance fees. With qualifying direct deposits, you're eligible for free overdraft up to $200 on debit card purchases and cash withdrawals. And to date, Chime has spotted members over $30 billion. That is wild. Plus, you get access to over 47,000 fee-free ATMs. That's more than the top 3 national banks combined. For me, I love the daily balance updates and real-time alerts. They've totally changed the way I track my spending. I say that you must look at your finances. You must look at what you have nearly every day. I use Chime, and you should too. Work on your financial goals through Chime today. Open an account in 2 minutes at chime.com/almost30. That's chime.com/almost30. Chime feels like progress.
Chime is a financial technology company, not a bank. Banking services and debit card provided by the Bancorp Bank N.A. or Stride Bank N.A. Members FDIC. Spot me eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. Timing depends on submission of payment file. Fees apply at out-of-network ATMs. Bank ranking and number of ATMs according to U.S. News and World Report 2023. Chime checking account required.
Yeah, it's so powerful. Speaking of modeling, I've been thinking a lot about, and I'm sure a lot of parents feel this, but I don't know if we're always practicing it because it's hard, but technology, our relationship with
Mm.
technology and how that um, affects our kids and also models certain things to our kids. And then part B of this question is really about, the exposure to technology and what you're seeing, maybe what you've seen in research or in your own
Mhm.
children, and how that affects the nervous system and what we can do to, be more mindful and support our unique kids in the consumption or if they're around it, because it's something I think about a lot.
Yeah, same, same. What's really cool to note is that not all technology is created equally, right? So it's not just like technology equals bad. In fact, I think when we can see technology through a neutral lens, it's actually way more helpful here. That if
Yeah.
I can say, oh, I noticed that for myself, if I don't move my body enough throughout the day, I get to the end of the day and I'm like agitated, irritated. And I notice for myself, if I am placing my grocery order, I feel fine after. If I am scrolling social media for 15 minutes, I don't feel fine after. I'm like annoyed with my kids or something. Or if I'm trying to read an article in my email or checking something on my email for work and my kids are trying to get my attention, I feel annoyed by them. I feel like they're taking me away from this thing that I'm trying to do. And so, really,
Hmm.
just recognizing what interaction with technology does what? That when I'm hanging out with my family and we're having a movie night and we're watching a movie, I don't leave that feeling agitated. I don't leave that feeling frustrated with them. That part of technology feels connecting sometimes and wholesome, and we can might be snuggling on the couch and sharing an experience. That feels good for me sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And there are other forms of technology or uses of it that don't feel good. And really being able to get clear about that, that screens as neutral and that the way that we use them affect us differently and the different types of interactions affect us differently.
Right.
And starting to build awareness of that. And again, when we can narrate that, like, oh man, I've noticed that when my sound on my phone is on or the buzzer's on and we're hanging out, that it is hard for me to keep paying attention to you or to be kind to you when I hear it going off because my brain is thinking about it.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn it off or I'm going to put it in another space so that I can focus on you. I want to be here with you right now. And being able to
Mm-hmm.
just narrate and say that. Another time saying like, "Oh yeah, I have the sound of my phone on because Auntie Rach is navigating something where she might need my help with this, and I told her I would be available. So I might have to step away from dinner or from our hang to answer that phone call. So I have the
Right.
ringer on. We might hear my phone this time."
Yeah.
And just being able to call those things out so that they start to, I mean, the way that we grew up, it was you heard so much more of what your parents were doing, right? The phone rang and you heard a conversation back and forth. Right now, it's like
Yes.
I could have a full convo with you just via text. And you know me, I'm like a sucker for a voice message, so
Yes,
they might hear
same.
my end of it, but they're not always hearing that. It's like a text just happened or I placed a grocery order, I sent an email and they don't know what we're doing on there. They just see us
Mm-hmm.
on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's such a good point. I was talking to someone the other day and they have a teenager and they were just saying that they kind of now see like, oh, my kid being on their phone, I'm projecting onto them what I think they're doing or what I do on my phone when I get frustrated. But
Mhm.
actually, most of the time on their phone, they're connecting with their friends. Like they're talking to friends. And like, obviously there are moments where we can like chill on that. It doesn't have to be at midnight, but um it's just reframing, what this means to especially teens, if we're talking teens a little bit outside of this age
Yeah.
group, but that was interesting for me, but I love the narration piece because kids are so perceptive, like we've said, like they pick up on so much of the unsaid, and then they're going to fill in the blanks on things that they don't really know with like kind of guessing and
Definitely.
um yeah, I think the narration piece is so important. So what about um so 5 to 12, like the exposure to, whether it's tablets or, you
Mhm.
know, is there anything that you're seeing or that you've researched that should be notable for us as we navigate this? Because I think we can go to the extreme and be like, no, nothing. And then we could drive ourselves crazy.
100%. And the know
And
nothing just is we know that then they're gonna go out in the world and be exposed to screens.
I know.
And my friend Ash, Brandon, they have a book publishing called Power On that is so good, and one thing that I love about them, they shared this analogy with me that just, like, stuck about how water is really dangerous for kids, right? Cars also very dangerous. When we look statistically, like drowning rates and car accidents, they're inherently dangerous. We aren't like, well, we're going to avoid all water and all cars. We're never going to go in them. We're never going to be around them. Instead, we look at, okay, how can I support you with the tools you need and the skills you need to do this safely? And for swimming, we might be doing swimming lessons, or they might have floaties to start and scaffolding until they can swim on their own. And then, still, as an adult, they're looking at things like, is there an undertow? Is this a safe place to swim? there's forever scaffolding for them to assess the dangers and safeties and be able to make a choice. Same with cars. We have them in car seats. We have seat belts. We're talking about how fast to go, when to stop. We're teaching them how to navigate this and
Right.
what skills they need to do it safely. When we bring that to screens, it shifts it for me. When I say, okay, what skills do my kids need to navigate this safely? And I have two very different humans. I birthed two vastly different nervous systems, and they navigate screens differently.
Mm.
I have one that is a sensory seeker and high connection seeking. And she is like, give me any sort of screen interaction where there is an engagement, whether it's like a Miss Rachel video where she's saying, like, can you say ball? And my daughter's like, ball, like nailing it, right?
Yes.
My son with Miss Rachel never once replied to the prompt. It's
Mm-hmm.
not the way that he uses the screen. And for my daughter, she like loves FaceTime. She's like, I want to engage and interact and do something and feel connected. And my son wants to learn. So he like loves a YouTube video. He was teaching me about hydraulics the other day. And I was like, in what world? But it was from this like kid's YouTube video where he was learning about like trucks and hydraulics. And for
Wow.
him, he like loves that.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And for each of them, the screen time boundaries are different. That, like, the way that they might use them in terms
Mm.
of regulation are different. For him, when he feels flooded and overwhelmed and overstimulated, he would love to turn to a screen to just zone out in the same way that we might turn to coping mechanisms like shopping or a substance or sometimes like food or even exercise to just distract ourselves from a
Yeah.
feeling rather than sit with it and be in it and experience it. And there's
Yeah.
room for all of this. Sometimes we don't have the capacity to process it and we're going to be like, yeah, you know what I need? I need to binge watch a show and chill
Right.
and I'm going to deal with this feeling tomorrow, right? Like there's room for
Mm-hmm.
that. But if we're always doing them and we never are turning to processing tools, therein lies the danger. And so for my son, it's for us really managing what season of life are we in right now? Do we just have a new baby and things feel really different? Are we in a transition with like new classrooms, school, etc.? And what does this season look like? And
Mm.
what's our relationship to screens in this season? And what tools are we accessing outside of screens for processing? So if he is going to come home and feel exhausted from being in his new classroom all day and he's going to watch a show for 30 minutes, what are we doing after that show? What other tools are we tapping into that help move things through his body so they're not stuck in
Mm.
terms of emotions and processing?
Can we talk about those processing tools? Because
Yeah,
even at a young age, if you have young kids out there, if you have big kids, like, you know, these big emotions are there. And I think I, there are days when he's overwhelmed and he goes, Rachel, and he just wants to sit down and watch Rachel.
totally.
Or he'll be like, Passy, because we're about to give up the Passy. I'm
Yeah.
taking your advice soon. Um,
I mean, do
on
it on
how
your
to
own
do it,
timeline. Yeah.
on how to do it, because you were like, "This is how I did it." You're like, "Take your time." I said, "I will." Um, but he has those things that are like his just feel good, like
Totally.
immediately just makes him like, ah,
Yeah.
and I get it.
Dopaminergic.
And I want to understand how to, in the moment, begin to help him process if he can like borrow my nervous system in the
Mhm.
moment, which I like try to do, just like kind of have that
Sure.
really calm, be that space for him. But I guess what does that look like in practice, especially for big kids?
Yeah. It is unfortunately not one size fits all, right? So
Yeah,
how they process is gonna be different. I was just chatting with this 9-year-old who has a phone that has no social media, so they can use it for, like, FaceTiming and texting. They're high
cool.
connection seeking kid, and it's a great tool for them. They will call, there is someone in my community, and I'll get like FaceTimes from them. And they went from like, mom, watch this. Mom, I need this. Mom. And she's like, I'm going to lose my ever loving shit. And to, here's a tool for you to also get connection needs met outside of just me.
Yeah.
And it's been awesome. But I was chatting with them the other day, and I was like, yeah, they are going through some friendship stuff and some shifts and little changes in who's going to be participating in what sports and going to be together. And there's stuff they don't feel included in. And as a high connection seeking kid, this is really tough to feel left out and like you're not included.
Yeah.
And it's a threat to social safety. And so I was chatting with her and I was like, yeah, what feels good for you right now when you're in this space? Like, man, it's so hard to feel left out and to not be able to just fix that. What feels good for you right
Yeah.
now? And she was like, well, I wanted to do these TikTok dances. My mom won't let me use TikTok. And I was like, totally. Yeah, that makes sense. Is it the dancing that feels good, or do you like watching somebody else do something and then like you're doing it? And she was like, "Oh, I love dancing." I was like, "Cool. What are other ways we could get some dancing in?" And I was like, "What's your favorite song right now?" And we ended up brainstorming that like part of her routine right now when she comes home from school is having a dance party by herself in her room. That is
Mm.
moving this through her body in a way that before she was like throwing her backpack on the floor, like eye rolls, door slams, yelling at her mom. She's
Yeah.
got a lot going on at school in terms of friendships, and it's coming home, and those emotions are
Yeah.
bottled up all day long, and then they need to move through her body. And
Mhm.
it was just conflict of her saying like, "I feel stuck in this." And so now she's having this dance party, and sometimes her mom joins and dances with her when she wants her to. And they also started a journal back and forth where at the end of the day, she was having some anxiety going to bed because, like, thinking about school the next day and not wanting to go because of the friend drama. And so they started a journal. And she, before bed, just offloads anything that's still sitting in her brain, anything she wants to share. And then she gets to choose if she wants someone else to read it or not. So
Mhm.
she can set it right outside. There's a spot that she puts it if she wants her mom to know it. And if not, it stays in her room. And we chatted about it, and her mom was like down to respect this and not look if she's not invited to look, and just have a space to move it out of her body. For some
Love it.
kids, that movement is literal movement, moving your body, dancing, running, climbing, jumping, participating in a sport, etc. For some kids, it's offloading it. It's talking,
Mm.
it's texting, it's writing it, it's creating music with it. It's arts expression. It's getting it out in a form of communication.
Mhm.
And for some kids, it's time and silence and a decrease in stimuli. My husband is actually like this, where he, if we're going to talk through something hard, we're navigating something, I will text him or write something down and say, like, here's what's coming up for me. I want to talk about this later.
Yeah.
And then he needs time and space. In fact, early on in our relationship, at one point, I'm like let's talk it out. Let's go. I want to auditorily process, and he needs that time and space. At one point early
Yeah.
on in our relationship, we were in conflict, and he like got in the shower because I just wouldn't stop talking. I was like following him around and just talking. And he's like, "How do I escape this?" And just got in the shower.
You
And
are
I'm
my
like,
husband. He's like very like I'm like I need to process because like whatever comes out of my mouth is not it's not gonna
"Mhm."
make sense. It's gonna be I'm still emotional. I need to
Yeah.
like be by myself.
Yeah, and that's my husband, and that's the kids are like this too, right? That, like, adults are kids who have grown up, and so when we're looking at this, like, is this a kid who they need some time and space and quiet time, and maybe they'll do something with that quiet time, like
Right.
play a video game or play with Legos or whatever, or maybe they'll just be. Maybe they'll
Mm.
just take a shower or have some time to themselves, and really recognizing that all of those things are valuable And one isn't inherently better than the other. It's not better to be someone who talks their feelings through versus someone who goes inward
Right.
and takes time. It's not better to be someone who turns to like movement than somebody who is like, yeah, I'm going to turn to arts expression, but that all of them are just different forms of processing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so lately I've been giving my closet a little glow up, and honestly, Revolve has been my go to for nearly all of it. It is just about to be the fall season, and I love that whether it's a night out, a wedding, or just my everyday run around the city, but still want to look put together vibe. Revolve has me covered. I have used them throughout our tours, interview processes. It's been just an incredible place for me to get looks that I feel confident in, that really like express my style in a unique way. And I love most how easy it is to shop on Revolve. The curated edits make it so simple to find exactly what I need without endless scrolling. That's the worst. Vacation looks, concert outfits, or even just elevated basics. Plus, they seriously have everything. Over 1,200 brands and over 100,000 styles with new arrivals daily. And the recommended for you picks are actually spot on with my style. I'm kind of freaked out. It's kind of cool. My current favorites, okay, I just want to give you like an insight into my cart, like what I just got. So I got I got the cropped sweater from Fear of God Essentials. It's like this really beautiful green color, great for fall. Nice big oversized sleeves, so cute. I also got the crew sweatshirt from WAO. It's just like a very simple basic, but I think I can like dress it up, dress it down, be my like kind of chic casual that I like. Oh, and I got the new Dunk Low sneaker from Nike. It's a cacao wow and coconut milk colors. Okay, so picture like that brown and cream. It is screaming fall. I'm so excited. So I am getting all of my wardrobe pieces this fall from Revolve, and I highly recommend. Okay, you are going to discover brands on Revolve, which I have many times over. I just discovered Helsa, which I love. I love Norma Kamali. She's on there. And guess what? Best part, whether it's a weekend getaway, a big night out, or just a little style refresh, your dream wardrobe is just one click away. It is so easy to shop on Revolve. Head to revolve.com/almost30. You can shop our edit and take 15% off your first order with code almost30. Fast 2-day shipping, easy returns, easy returns, which is awesome. And it's literally the only place you need to shop from. That's revolve.com/almost30 to shop our favorites and get 15% off your first order with code almost30. Offer ends October 12th. So happy shopping.
Yeah, this is so helpful, and I feel like the ability to allow our kids to kind of be in their process, um, I think would be a huge turning point for parents, just in how they experience those like moments of just really heightened emotion or just intensity. Um, I'm curious, so that helps kids to identify what helps them to process and move energy. What helps kids to foster things like resiliency, like kind of like a bounce back rate after, say, rejection or after frustration or, um, yeah, I think those are big ones, but I'm sure there's others. But how would you foster that for big kids? How would you foster like flexibility if things change? And, how do they become a bit more regulated in those moments?
Yeah. So two separate things here with cognitive flexibility and then resilience through like frustration tolerance or that rejection, et cetera. The the resilience piece there, the answer kind of sucks because it's that they have to experience it.
Yeah.
So often we want to step in and save them from it and prevent it from happening. We want to remove the obstacles so they don't have the hard thing happen. Or I had, when we were doing research for this book for big kids, I was interviewing different teachers and families and kids. And I had this mom who was talking about the like the preteen drama and the friendship stuff.
Hmm.
And she's like, oh, I mean, like we were chatting about it as parents and like, we just got to get these girls together and like talk through this. And what they were trying to do was solve it for them. And she really wanted to make sure her daughter felt included. And
Mm.
1,000% I agree. I also want my children to feel included and like they belong. And they're not going to feel that all the time everywhere.
Yeah.
They are not going to feel that in every group, in every space, in every classroom. They're going to get rejected from the school, the job. They're not going to make the team. Those things are all things that are going to happen. And if they have never practiced what it feels like
Mm.
to experience rejection and learn, oh, I've been here before. I know that I can survive this. If they don't get to practice that, then eventually they end up in a space where they're not getting to practice it with us, where they're
Yeah.
not under our roof, where we can say, like, man, yeah, it sucks to not make the team.
Mm.
Do you want to like go for a drive and just rage to some music right now? Or do you want to just get some chips and dip and chill on the couch and binge watch your favorite show and we can figure this out tomorrow? Like,
Yeah.
really showing them what does it look like to be in that feeling and know that you can experience it and
Yeah.
have practice with it so that you know you can do it. One of
Yeah.
my favorite things to tell kids is that no feeling lasts forever, and bring up times like, yeah, remember when you won that game and you were so stoked? You guys were sectional champions and it was incredible. Remember how happy and excited and proud you felt? And right now, you don't feel happy, excited, or proud. Happy,
Mhm.
excited, and proud don't stay for a long time. Right now, you're feeling left out and lonely and sad. And that makes sense. And those won't stay for a long time either. It's okay
Mhm.
to feel this right now and to let your body cry or be mad or rage on the drums or draw a picture or write about it or make a song about it or go for a run. It's okay to be in this right now and
Yeah.
know that you don't have to make it go away. It's going to go away on
Mhm.
its own.
Mhm. And just in tandem with that, allowing them to feel that, knowing, explaining that it's temporary. What if they have behaviors because of how they're feeling that are unacceptable?
Totally.
Say it's disrespect, say it's like, you know, physical expression of that is unacceptable. How are we communicating around that to create a rule or a boundary or
Yeah.
expectation?
Love this question. We have a whole chapter on defiance and disrespect. It's the thing we get the most questions about, probably that and anxiety.
Yeah.
And when we're looking at defiance and disrespect, what's really key for us first to note as the adult is that it's a sign of dysregulation. It means their
Mhm.
nervous system is dysregulated. That if they had tools to respond respectfully right now in the moment that they could access, they would. And what they're saying is, my nervous system is dysregulated. It doesn't
Mhm.
excuse behavior, and we are going to set boundaries for behavior as well. But first and foremost, in the moment, what I'm going to look at is, how do I get their nervous system fully back online? How do I help them regulate first? And so they come in, they slam the door, they eye roll, they scream in your face, they stomp to their room. I'm going to give them a beat. I'm not going to run right in. I'm going to give them a minute. And then I'm going to come over and I'm going to be so mindful of my tone and my body language. And I'm going to say, whoa, bud, that was wild. I can tell something's going on. And I want you to know that I'm here with you. We're going to figure this out. And I love you.
Mm.
And then just pause and maybe ask them, do you want company right now? Or do you want to be alone for a minute? And if they say they want to be alone, honoring that and letting them know where you are. All right,
Yeah.
bud, I get that. I'm going to go into the kitchen and start making a snack. If you need me, holler. I'll come. What you're saying to them in that moment is so stinking powerful. You're saying, I can handle your hard stuff. It's not too overwhelming for me. There's nothing you could do that would shift my love for you.
Yeah.
And you're not alone in this. And so then when we come back together and we're navigating it and we get to the place where there's regulation and there's calm, when we get to that place, then we might be able to say, man, earlier you were feeling it big. I have fully been there where all I want to do is like chuck my computer or scream at
Yeah.
somebody and lose it. And it's our job in our household to make sure that we're kind to each other and kind to our things. I want to help you figure out what you can do when it feels so big so that you don't hurt yourself or someone else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's it. I'm not
Yeah.
mad at you. You're not in trouble. They already know they weren't supposed to do that. They're already beating themselves up because they feel badly. I don't
Yeah.
have to add to that. All I have to
Yes.
do is show up and give them skills to do it differently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's powerful because quickly it could become kind of this shame spiral of,
Mhm.
having those big reactions and then feeling bad about it and then not wanting. Yeah, I remember that feeling of like not even wanting to be like looked at or
Yeah.
you don't love me now. That feeling of like
Mhm.
that was so ugly. How could you even love
Yeah,
me?
there's
And
no
so
way you
like
would love that part of me.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, I love the yeah, just like affirming that it's okay to be feeling this way. We don't hurt other people, we don't hurt things, but we can work through this together. I think that's simple and just so powerful and can kind of immediately just feel kind of take that shame away or at least some of it,
Mhm.
like yeah, so
It
powerful.
leads to connection, and we know that when we feel connected with someone,
Yeah.
we're more likely to be collaborative with them and
Mhm.
cooperative. And so if I come in and I'm like powering over and I'm like punishing or shaming and trying to make a behavior change that way, it leads to disconnection. And what we see is that more and more they are not collaborative and they're not cooperative. And then eventually they start doing things like lying and sneaking around because they're worried about your reaction and being in trouble. And when
Yeah.
we can lean into connection, it's a game changer for our relationship for the long term.
Right. So good. I have one more question before you
Please, I'll hang
ask.
out with you
I mean,
forever.
I have a million questions, but I will hold back. The rest is in the book. The book's incredible. Big Kids, Bigger Feelings. So 5 to 12.
Mhm.
I'm curious about this sentiment that I think some parents might have around, and maybe it's in my experience, I feel like my husband has this sentiment sometimes, even when with Mav being so young still, and I have to remind him how young he is. But he's like, you don't want to, you know, for in so many words, you don't want to baby him forever. And I
Sure.
think he has a fear that I'm going to baby him forever. Anyway, so what is that? What is appropriate in terms of the the support and security that we provide from 5 to 12, because I know there's a little bit of individuation happening, so that they have a healthy sense of self, security with us, and can feel relatively confident becoming more independent. What does that look like in actuality?
Yeah. I love this because I think there's this idea that if we are doing things for people, if we are showing up and taking care of them, that we are holding them back from something. And
Right.
what actually the science shows and is so clear is that when we are showing up in ways that help somebody feel safe, if it's taking care of them, if it's they're having a hard time and they're crying and we show up and we hold them, if it's I know they know how to brush their own teeth or put on their shoes or make their own lunch or get their stuff ready for school tomorrow, but I'm going to help them with this because I can tell they're spent. When we show up in those ways for somebody else,
Yeah.
what we're doing is forming security in our attachment and relationship with them and letting them know that they're never to old to be vulnerable with us, that we can handle their hard stuff, and that they're also allowed to ask for help and not just do it all and have it all together all the time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so when it looks like, how do we help them learn these skills so that when they're out in the world, they have them? You help them by co-regulating first at home, by
Mm-hmm.
continuing to show up and hold them when they're crying and help them when they need help, because that's how they, when they're out into the world, are going to show up with other people. That's what they're going
Yes.
to expect in relationships with other people, is that I don't have to do this all alone. It's called the collaborative emotion processing method for a reason. We process emotions collaboratively. We're a social species. And the more we look at individuation and going insular, what ends up happening is so much isolation and so much anxiety and depression skyrockets, because we feel like we're supposed to have it all together, be able to handle everything on our own all the time. And that's not how we're meant to live.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's why summer Wednesdays exist, right? Like, I walked into my house last night on Summer Wednesday, where our houses open up to everyone in the neighborhood. Everyone brings their own food. And I walked in at one point after dinner. There's a gaggle of kids in the backyard playing, all different ages. And Emily's doing my dishes. And Monica had just brought over whipped cream because somebody else had grabbed strawberries. And we were putting together things. And I was like, this is it. We aren't supposed to do this alone.
Yeah.
And when we show up with our kids and show them that they don't have to do it alone and that their
Mm-hmm.
messiness is welcome in relationship, that's what they come to expect from others in relationship and how they show up with each other in relationship.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that's pretty rad.
Yeah. So cool. Yeah, that's my dream. I love having just a freaking gaggle of kids and parents
Come to
over and
Summer
just like
Wednesday anytime you want, Linz.
I would love to. I'm driving up to Vermont. Like, be careful what you wish for. Um, yeah, I love it. Yeah, this has been incredible. I've learned so much. And I know people are going to be taking copious notes, listening to this episode. Get the book, Big Kids, Bigger Feelings. If you have a little one, Tiny Humans, Big Emotions. Incredible, incredible, incredible resources that I keep on my bedside. And I'm just so thankful for your work. I'm so thankful for your dedication, for your research, for just you being very real about your own process with your kids. And it's really incredible. What's one thing you hope people take from this book in particular?
There's not a world in which you like do all the right things and you proactively support your self-care and all that jazz, and everyone's regulated all the time. That's not the goal. You're
Right.
going to cycle in and out of regulation and dysregulation. What we're working to do is to help you understand how you can access regulation again when you are dysregulated, and how to have enough capacity to do that. That you're not so fried that you're like, I just can't all the time.
Mhm.
But there's no world in which you're like, well, doing it. Everyone's regulated all the time in my household or in my classroom or in my world. And one of my favorite things that our village has said is like, I came for the kids, but stayed for myself.
Mm,
And to recognize that, like, so many of us didn't grow up with this. And it is a process, whether you have kids or not, you have a nervous system
big time.
and you deserve to understand how it operates and works, so that you can move through the world with a bit more ease.
Hmm. Yeah. And have better physical health too. There's
Totally. It's all
so many
connected.
physical implications, as we know. Um, okay, I love you dearly. Thank you for
I love
being
you.
here. Make sure you follow. I will give all the handles and websites in the intro and outro, as well as in the show notes. Yeah, you're just an incredible, incredible resource. So thank you for being part of my
Thanks. Love
village in a
you.
very unique way. Love you dearly. Congratulations.
Thank
And
you.
we'll see you soon.
See you soon.
Thank you so much. Alyssa, her new book, Big Kids, Bigger Feelings, is out now.
Amazing. Morning Microdose is our Clips channel. It has the best of Almost 30 podcast. It has 5 to 10 minutes. It's ad free completely. So it's just like the heaters. And then we also have Almost 30 podcast on TikTok and Instagram, almost30.com. for the show, for more show notes, for our partners. You can pretty much use Almost 30 code anywhere you shop.
Yeah, I know. That's
Find
a
us
good one.
anywhere.
All right, we love you guys. We'll see you on the next episode. We have new episodes every single week.
We love you guys. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.